Thank you for joining me on another Lombardi Live. If you've been watching over 75 Lombardi Live interviews that I have in our library on drumchannel.com, you know I often say in the hundreds of interviews that we have that often the interviews are as educational as the lessons. Today is going to be no exception. We're going to learn about a young drummer who has one of the biggest gigs with one of the superstars of today, and we're going to find out how he prepared himself for that opportunity, which is what you all need to know out there. Thank you for joining me, and thank you so much, Jacopo, for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, so quite an exciting life you're leading here, and your career too, as I'm following it. And a lot of people here in America might not know you. Tell me a little bit about your background and how you ended up and what you did mostly to prepare yourself, because that's what we want to teach the young drummers out there.
Yeah, actually I started playing drums when I was a little kid, so I started like 4 or 5 years old. I always been surrounded by music because my dad used to play, like, not as a professional musician, but he plays like keys, organ, and stuff like that. So it is probably the reason why I started playing drums and like playing music just in general. I joined him like playing when I was very young, and we used to do jam session, whatever, and just
was there a point in time when your dad looked at you as a young musician, or you yourself thought, hey, this is just not something I'm going to do for fun with the family, you know, after dinner?
Yeah, this definitely for me it was, I didn't like really have a plan B for my life. I always wanted to be like a musician. Like for me, like being on stage is probably the best like feeling I have like in life. So yeah, as I told you, I never had like a plan B. So
you knew that's what you were doing.
Yeah, for me it was a kind of a mission.
It was going to go one way or the other, but you were going to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm sure you didn't at that young age, or even in your early career, figure that there's going to be a huge superstar. Post Malone is who he's traveling and touring with right now, who is a rapper, singer, songwriter, a producer,
as well,
who is not going to be looking just for a drummer. He's going to be looking for a drummer very special, so which you are. So your career has taken you into levels of being a drummer. And what do you think beyond that allowed you to get that gig? Because I'm sure he had a choice of every drummer in the world.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I started like trying to get close to him. It was like 2018. So I was a fan of Posty, of course. And when I used to listen to his songs, I was like, I have a connection with him because I really like the songwriting, and he doesn't have like a specific genre. He can play everything, and everything he does, it sounds amazing. So I had like this connection with him.
He didn't know that at the time.
No, definitely not. So that's why I had to fly from Italy to the US, and I went to one of his show. It was 2018. It was May 2018. And I saw him like, it was right in front of a tour bus. So
you were just a fan going to the gig?
Yeah, actually I had like, a friend of mine gave me like a pass for backstage or whatever.
Perfect.
So I got close to him and I just showed him a video of me playing one of his songs, and he was really like interested on like watching the video. So after he saw the video, he just gave me his number. So
that right there.
Yeah. Like was, because I also told him, you know, I'm from Rome, and he was like, no man, Rome is one of my favorite cities in the world. We should ride Vespa and have a good wine when in Rome and stuff like that. So,
and you weren't making that up. You really are from Rome. You weren't just trying
yeah, definitely. I mean,
that worked out great.
Yeah, everything was like very natural, like, yeah. And after that, I got close to the production and stuff. and he didn't play with a band for a while. I mean, he was using just tracks, and you know, during these years, beside my job back in Italy, I was always trying to stay in the radar, like not being annoying, but
here
just,
I am.
yeah, like showing up like every, I don't know, 6 months and saying, "Hey guys."
Kind of a stalker, but not too much, right?
No, I mean, everything was like
Very cool.
yeah, genuinely and cool, and was 2000, probably 19. Yeah, it was before COVID. I had the chance to jam with him because he had like this jam room in the backstage. So yeah, the drum set, he had like guitars and...
Does he play a little drums also?
A little bit, yeah. He actually, in the last album that came out last year, he played a couple of songs on the drums. And
that even makes it more interesting for the drummer. I've interviewed a lot of drummers who the lead singer is also a drummer.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's kind of challenging because they don't necessarily have a lot of technique, but they sound really cool. And sometimes for a drummer, it's hard to, you know, replicate that sound. And yeah, it's kind of challenging sometimes, but...
Does he give you some friendly tips on maybe put a fill there or maybe a little more there?
Not necessarily like this, but he always like trying to, let's say that he wants to hear like a lot from me, and he always saying something like, "Jaco, go nuts," and stuff like that. So
go for it. Huh?
Yeah, yeah, give me more and stuff like this. Yeah, it was very like nice when we rehearsed for the first time, and in some songs it was like, "Yo, just go for it!" Like,
that's a dream gig for a drummer. Can't get better than that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely.
What was the song you played that you played for him? When you
actually,
were on YouTube that he initially gave you his phone number for?
Yeah, it was Over Now. And it was from the album Beer Bugs and Bentleys that came out 2018, something like that. But there's a story behind this, because it was 2017 and I was touring with this band called the Bloody Beetroots. And I used to play with them, and we were in the US starting our US tour. And the frontman of the band is one of Tommy Lee's best friend. So we went to Tommy Lee's house, and he showed us this song with Post Malone that was Over Now, because he played the drums in that song. So I heard the song like it was kind of preview. It wasn't finished yet, and yeah, so
wow,
it was kind of meant to be.
Let's take a quick look at that. And then reflect on it a little bit more. Check this out.
When she coming from my heart, it feels like Armageddon. I'ma turn the tables, promise you will never forget it. Won't apologize, don't give a fuck if you're offended. No discussion, yeah, we gotta go our separate ways. Won't take me down in flames. I don't even wanna know your name. Watch how everything is gonna change. Yeah, hey. I'ma pull up in the Bentley with a fucking 100,000 in my pocket. Yeah, yeah. I'ma pull up, swing my door open, stunning, knowing everybody watching. Yeah, yeah. And help another bitch out the whip, and I don't give a fuck if you don't like it. Yeah, yeah. Just to show you that it's over, it don't matter what you gotta say about it. Yeah, I'ma put that bitch pussy in a motherfucking body bag, so you know that I'm never ever coming back. Got your heart on the counter in a Prada bag. I used to never ever wanna see the light of day. Yeah.
So, lesson number 1 here: record yourself playing a cover of the artist who you want to play with song. Meet him backstage. show him your phone, and hope he gives you your phone number.
Yeah.
What an amazing story.
Yeah, don't be annoying.
No, no, no.
Don't play the part of the fanboy.
No. Well, so in
Just
putting
joking.
the band together then, that was another experience for you. You're the drummer in the band, but at one point you decided to go out with a live band. And
yeah. Actually, everything was kind of very. It happened very fast. It was kind of rushing because basically I went to Dublin in 2023, last year, because it was playing there, and one of my best friends lives in Dublin, so it was an excuse to do both things. And yeah, basically I was talking to a production manager, and he told me it is doing the band now, and I was like, are you going to call me or what?
does he need a drummer?
Yeah, and it was like, let's see if I send you a text in a couple of days. He did.
Those were long days for you, I
Yeah,
bet.
definitely. And after that started like all the probably that was the worst part, because I had to rush for the visa because I had to work here. So thank God I made it like in time, but I had just less than a month to do everything. So we tried to speed up the process and stuff like that, but thank God I made it. And yeah, basically, yeah, I got a call, and I started prepare myself so hard. I mean, I was waiting for that call for a long time, so I couldn't, be like not prepared. So I started learning all the songs, like every arrangement, very like specific, like every single hit and every single pattern. I was trying to be like as like precise as I could.
In the rehearsal situation when you played live, was he looking for you to more recreate live what was on the tracks, or that gives you a general idea and just
actually
play it your way?
The way I approached this gig, it was like I want to play the part as it is, and I got I got the arrangement from the musical director, and I wanted to be like so
precise.
Yeah, on the arrangement they gave me. So I didn't want to put like too much, because it's at the end of the day it's pop gig. You gotta, and for me, like in general, you gotta play for the music, not for yourself. Like this is like my motto, and
There's
so
a good lesson out there for everybody.
I wanted to be respectful, like I wanted to respect all the arrangements, and then when we were in the rehearsal spot, we changed a little bit. Just give me some more on this, play less on that, and that's it.
Now, as we talked a little bit earlier, preparing for the gig, in your earlier days, he plays a lot of different genres.
Yeah.
You have played a lot of different genres in a lot of bands also.
Yeah.
So not just thinking of you as one style of drummer. How important do you think it is for young drummers out there to get beyond their comfort zone, if you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like it's very important, but I also feel like you gotta be like very specific, like to find your style, no matter what the genre is. So basically, I grew up like listening to a lot of different style of music, like from rhythm blues, country, jazz, fusion, and then I switched to punk rock, I don't know, metal, and then I switched to drum and bass, electronic music, and stuff like that. But I always tried to find like my way to express myself, and trying to mix all the influences I have, and trying to build the best drummer I can be. And yeah, and for me, like, not being stuck just in one style, it's important, but more important is it's like to build your own style, so to be kind of unique drummer. So I feel like this helps a lot on, especially if you want to work in the music business.
And you're very fortunate in that the style that you wanted to pursue ended up being the gig that you got.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of young drummers and professional drummers I interview, same thing. They have their own personality. They have their own ideas of directions they would want to go in. But if they get a call for a gig that is another area and it's really a good paying gig, they're going to be able to do that. So
yeah,
versatility is so important.
Versatility is important, definitely. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that.
But you're just, in looking at you play, I'm not a big fan of genres. I mean, especially in the drumming community.
Yeah.
You're a rock drummer, you're a jazz drummer, you're just a good drummer. You're going to have your rock swinging, your jazz is going to be having an influence of your rock playing. I mean, I think, although it's important to learn all different genres, they all kind of meld together and you make it your own style.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be prepared to everything. Like,
and to check you out a little bit, we're going to be doing some playing here, by the way, which is why we have the drum set behind us. Going to be giving you some tips on some of the tracks that you did and some of the things that you learned that helps you, and some of the lessons that we're going to have here on Drum Channel. But your educational background, did you study with drum lessons or by watching other drummers mostly?
I used to study a lot of drums, like practicing and stuff like that. But I feel like I had 3 different phases of my life, like let's say 3 decades. Yeah, when I was really young, I had like the chance to listen all my dad's music. Like, his influences were like very important to me. So I grew up listening to Led Zeppelin. He was a big fan of James Brown. I don't know, like Joe Cocker. A lot of good bands and artists from 70s, 80s.
And excellent drummers in those bands, which is why it's important to listen to them.
Yeah, definitely. And I was so lucky because I used to travel a lot to also see concerts. So we had a lot of experiences together. Like, we went to a lot of concerts back in the days. And yeah, at that time, I feel like I had on my top 3 favorite drummers, probably John Bonham, Simon Phillips, and Dennis Chambers. So they were like my favorite drummer back in the days. But when I was in middle school, I discovered like bands like Blink-182, Nirvana. So I had this is another phase of my life. And so the first time I heard like Travis Barker playing for Blink-182, I was kind of shocked because for me it was like a completely new world. And the same thing with both Nirvana and Foo Fighters with Dave Grohl. So at that time, they were my two favorite drummers.
Couldn't be better choices for sure. Simon Phillips, we have a new masterclass, which is probably on Drum Channel now. You can check that out that he did for us right here.
Yeah, I remember about Simon Phillips. I was like 6, 7 or something like that, and I went with my family to watch Toto playing in Rome. In this, they were supposed to play in another place, but that place was kind of shut down. Whatever, I don't know what was the deal, but we ended up watching Toto playing like 1 mile from our apartment. So for me, that was like one of the best experience I ever had in my life, because watching him playing live when I was like 6, 7, for me was like game changer.
And those kinds of experiences, no matter how old you get, and I speak from knowing because I'm getting older, you remember those things like they were yesterday.
Yeah, definitely. I probably can tell you the set list.
You did, at 6 years old, you didn't walk up and say, "Watch me here, look at me playing on the phone, and if you ever need a drummer, call me up."
Yeah.
But a good experience later in your life, for sure.
Yeah, and after, like, let's say the punk rock phase, I started like listening to a lot of course, gospel drummers, and like also, let's say, jazz, electronic music. So I went to Jojo Mayer masterclass back in was 2012, probably, something like that. So yeah, I had this new phase with like drummers like Jojo Mayer, Benny Grab, and Aaron Spears.
Do you have a warm-up routine, thinking about your drum set when you get, before you go up on stage? Anything you'd want to tell drummers that it's a good idea for them to do?
I don't have like a specific routine. I just want to be like ready for the show. So I just started like playing on my drum pad and doing a lot of rudiments. And that's my kind of new technique of warming up. It's because in the band backstage, a lot of people wants to like listen to some music to be ready before the show. So basically my routine is like they put a song and I do like single and double strokes on that beat, and then I go to triplets and every like kind of.
You get up to 64th notes, I know that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially like with trap music, you ended up like doing 64 notes for sure, very easily, and
makes the practice time more fun too if you're playing along.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a good way just not to be on your own with, you know, like metronome and just doing rudiments.
Speaking of metronome, on the gig or previous gigs, the talent of playing along to a click track, is that something you do with the band a lot? And how do you encourage young drummers to learn how to do that?
I mean, I started playing with the metronome and click tracks since I was like 18, 19. So I always used like, because I used to play with a lot of band and artists with the backing tracks, of course, because it's part of the show. And especially like when you start doing big gigs, everything it's also like you need the click track also for the lights, and everything is kind of
orchestrated.
Yeah, around the click. So you cannot like mess up with that. So yeah, my suggestion, it's always like, I mean, when you practice on your own, I would say like play with a click, but sometimes just playing without click and just, just going with the flow. And but it's very important, especially if you want to work in music, and if you want to do like pop or main gigs, you gotta be able to play with a metronome track.
Always fun to challenge yourself, playing along to a click and then have it drop out for 8 bars and then come back. And
that's a good exercise for sure.
See where you are when it comes back. Thinking of the time with various bands that you're with, to get into the little subtleties that make a difference, playing a little bit ahead of the beat or laying a little bit behind the beat. Are you just influenced more by what song it is, what the bass player is doing, or?
Well, it depends. It depends on the song. If you playing like a straight hip hop show, you gotta be like a little bit behind. And yeah, you gotta, playing everything very chill. You don't have to rush, of course, because it helps, the flow and the music. But if you're playing like when you play punk rock, everything, it's very like, it could be like very on time, or you gotta play like a bit beyond the click. Like, let's say it's easily to rush a little bit because of the high BPM, and also like, the vibe of the music.
The excitement of it too, yeah. Doing a lot of interviews, if the whole band is together and it rushes a little bit, it's not a negative thing.
No, as long as you keep.
It's part of the excitement of the music, right?
Yeah.
They're not trying to catch up with you as the drummer, right?
No.
So, do you play other instruments? And how important do you think that is for young musicians to expand their horizon?
I feel like it's very important. I do play other instruments. I studied piano for 4 or 5 years, and I play guitar as well. I play bass. I do programming. I know how to record like an entire song all by myself. I'm not a good singer, but I can try to write a melody. You
should come out here and we'll have you do when you visit us next. We'll have you do a whole song.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So how did you learn those instruments? Did you actually take lessons or pick them up? How do you go about, if you lay down a track, how do you go about doing that?
When I do a song by myself, I usually start from guitar, because I don't know, I feel like it gives you like more chances to build the song like in a right way. I usually add the drums for like it's the last thing I add to the song, because I feel like it's already like in my mind. I already like have it like
you're the drummer. You're the drummer, so you know what it's going to be.
Yeah, and when I write a song, I usually like my drumming is very like basic, because as I mentioned before, you gotta play for the music, not for yourself. So it's not always like a show off of your skills and stuff like that. So I feel like not sometimes, but most of the time, like less is more. So that's That's it for me.
We have a great roundtable interview on Drum Channel with Don Perry, Neil Peart, and Jim Keltner, who all are writers also. And the theme of that roundtable was drummers who compose, not about how they compose, but how the fact that they compose affects their drumming. Makes them think of it more from the standpoint of not, I'm the drummer and I've got to make my drums perform in the particular piece of music that I'm going to be playing, but I have to look at myself as part of the music of what we're doing. So
yeah, I agree.
When you're with Post, do everybody lay down their individual tracks and then he comes in, or do you actually get into a room as a band?
When I used to play with a band, we used to kind of build the song from scratch, like in the same room all together.
Solomo was like that?
I mean, sometimes.
Okay.
But
it was another band he was with.
Yeah, he is an artist, and I was part of the band, and yeah, I was the musical director as well. And
you say that like, well, I was the musical director as well. That's a big deal to be the musical director.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big responsibility, but I like to do it and to have like kind of pressure on you, and it makes me feel alive, for sure. And yeah, but nowadays everything is more like, okay, this is the arrangement, learn the arrangement, and we build like the I mean, everyone plays his part, and then we play all together and we build the song, basically. So it's more like it's not like old school style when you are in the room all together and just start jamming. But actually it was so cool. The first day of rehearsals with Posty, we played like, I don't know, 5-6 songs, and then we jammed for like 4 hours, like going from like blues, country, and ended up like in metal stuff, like breakdown and stuff like this. It
was that recorded, I hope?
I don't know.
That's when they should have, they find those tapes. Those would be fun ones.
That would be amazing.
Well, in talking with you, I can see why Post Malone saw a lot more than a drummer he was hiring. Very, very much a great musician that knows a lot about music in addition to being the drummer in the band.
I feel like nowadays it's really important not to be just one thing. You gotta know how to, especially like if you wanna get hired from artists. I feel like the first, as I did, you gotta be able to record yourself and trying to put together a good mix. First time I recorded drums, I went back in the other room and I was like, did I go so half? And so, I mean, when you play, you don't hear like a lot of mistakes and stuff like that. So that's why it helps you like to improve if you record yourself.
And once you get with major bands like you are now, you're always being recorded by everybody, no matter where you're at.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with a lot of artists, they record like their life like 24/7.
I thank you very much for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me.
And look forward to you being here in America, and welcome to Los Angeles.
Thank you.
And Drum Channel, of course. And we're going to be doing some other things today, so check out Jacopo on Drum Channel. And some future ideas we got. We'll have more coming up too.
Definitely.
And we'll see you on the next Lombardi Live. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on socials, and go to drumchannel.com, where you'll get your next daily challenge, your next play along Might even be getting a challenge from Jacopo. Check it out. I think you will be. See you next week.